Hey, what's up, guys? Back with another video, and today is a good day. We're actually gonna break down episode 4 of Tales of the Jedi. Let's go. Alright, guys, so today is the day it finally came out. Dave Filoni's Tales of the Jedi. So it released this morning, 3 a.m. if you're on the East Coast, midnight on the West Coast. 6 episodes dropped, and it's 2 arcs. 1 arc for Dooku and 1 for Ahsoka. So 6 episodes. They were shorts, though, so they were around 12 to 15 minutes long. So I think I calculated it was about an hour and 20 minutes total. It took me to watch all 6 this morning. So woke up at 3 a.m., watched it the minute it went live on Disney Plus. Had to be at work at 5. I was a little tired, but 100% worth it. Because this is some of the best Star Wars I've seen in years. I haven't been this happy and this satisfied with Star Wars content in a long time. The last time was maybe the Kenobi finale for the Kenobi Invader parts. Book of Boba, the Mando episode and the Luke episode, very, very exciting. Mando season 2 finale. So it's things like that it's like true Star Wars that just gives you that spark of joy. So I usually don't do breakdown videos, but the 4th episode just blew me away. It's like I have to talk about it. I have to do a breakdown video. So today we're gonna break it down. We're gonna go through the whole entire episode, basically frame by frame, to kind of go over everything that I saw in this episode. Tons of Easter eggs and callbacks to The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Clone Wars Season 7. So much stuff. It's just, thank you, Filoni. Like, thank you. All right, let's get into it. So basically, the episode starts, and this was so awesome. So it starts off, and we see good old Coruscant, right? And then we see the Jedi Temple. He's going into the archives. So we got Dooku here. He's heading into the archives, being very, very slick, making sure no one sees what he's doing. So once he gets into the archives, he enters a code, and then the computer says, the computer grants him access, and they say, "Welcome, Master Sifo Dyas." And the minute that the minute I heard that, I'm like, "Oh, is he doing what I think he's doing?" So then it continues, and you see him bring up the map of Kamino. That, if you guys remember in Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan was trying to find out information about it, he went to the archives, and they said that it didn't exist. All right, where's it at? So he brings up the Camino map. He deletes it from the archives, which is crazy. Confirms that Dooku did it, because it was always kind of blamed on Sifo Dyas, because he was the one allegedly that ordered the clone army, but it was Dooku. So it was cool seeing like this little piece here, which kind of calls back to Attack of the Clones when they referenced that hey, somebody deleted it. It had to have been a Jedi that had access. So that right there, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good one. So I heard online that the 4th episode was considered some of the best Star Wars that people had ever saw, animated wise, right? So I kind of was looking forward to this episode, and it started off strong. So he goes into the archives, races Camino, he leaves, and he ends up talking to Joe Costanew. So this conversation was interesting too. So the timeline of when this is happening is literally during the Phantom Menace, when Qui-Gon leaves Tatooine after he rescues Anakin, and he just fought Darth Maul. So this is literally right when he got back, because Dooku was asking, "Hey, what's the fuss? Like, what's going on? What's got everybody all riled up?" And she lets him know that, "Hey, it's your former Padawan, Qui-Gon Jinn, that he was in Tatooine, and he thinks that he fought a Sith Lord." So I was like, "Oh, are they talking about Maul?" So then they continue. They talk for a little bit more. Dooku actually leaves, and he runs into Qui-Gon. So Qui-Gon here is with Yaddle, walking around, and he kind of talks to them just to kind of see, "Hey, what happened? I heard something happened." And then he kind of told him that he ran into a Sith Lord in Tatooine, somebody who was strong in the Jedi arts. So they were chit-chatting for a little bit, and then Dooku was kind of like, "Just make sure you watch your back, because I'm not here to look out for you." because he knows that it's really a Sith Lord. So Qui-Gon says that that he should be good now, that Obi-Wan has his back. Obi-Wan's been doing great. And then Dooku was like, yeah, that I'd love to meet him one day. You're always praising him. And then Yaddle kind of speaks to him afterwards for a little bit. And Yaddle kind of can sense that something is off. And is trying to kind of see, what's bothering him. So they speak for a little bit. Then they kind of go their separate ways. Then as they walk away, you get the intro, which is like 5 minutes in. So they kind of give you a good amount of story. And I love this intro. Boom, it's short and sweet, right to the point. So next up, it's a little time jump, which kind of confused me. I didn't realize it till later in the episode that it jumped a little bit forward. But this is now after the famous Duel of the Fates lightsaber battle with Qui-Gon, Maul, and Obi-Wan. So Qui-Gon is now dead. So that's why Dooku's here at this tree, kind of like remembering him. Yaddle walks up on him, and the first thing he says is, I used to take Qui-Gon here when he was a young Padawan, that he loved this tree. And then Yaddle was kind of saying that, hey, we're heading to Naboo right now for the funeral, if he was going to come. And he was like, no, that he's not coming, that Qui-Gon is one with the Force now. And then he kind of walks off, and she kind of is sensing something's going on still. So next up, you see Dooku head to his ship. And then right after he heads to his ship, you see Yaddle pull up in her little ship, and she's actually following him, right? So she's following him through Coruscant, and Dooku is actually heading to meet up with Granddaddy Palps himself. So this was great. Seeing the Emperor again, even though you could barely see him, you see him a little bit more later on, but he goes to meet with the Emperor, and he's mad. He was like, why did Qui-Gon have to die? Why did you let Maul kill Qui-Gon? And I was like, yo, this is getting deep. Like, what? So they're talking, and he's like, I've done so much for you with Kamino, with this and with that. I've turned my back on everybody. And the whole time they're talking, Yaddle's in the background just creeping. She's getting closer and closer, and she's hearing everything. So I know this is going to lead up to a crazy moment, but we only saw Yaddle in episode 1 for a little bit, and after episode 1, she was always gone. So people kind of wonder what happened. Oh, we're about to find out. Even though this version of what happened to Yaddle is different, because I believe in the comics or in a book that she had a different kind of version of what happened to her. I'll talk about that after we see what happens here. So they're talking, I've done so much for you, and then all of a sudden Yaddle pops up. Bam! Ready to go. So she was telling Dooku that, hey, I actually left the council. I stepped down because I believe what you believe. She has similar views to Dooku, so she could understand like his point of view and how he felt, right? So she stepped down, and she kind of wanted to help him out. She wanted to help him right his wrongs, but he was kind of like, it was too late. And then the Emperor in the back is like, kill her, do it. Well, he doesn't say do it. So then he ignites his blade. They start fighting. Boom, boom, boom. And she keeps telling him that, hey, like, help me and we could try to right your wrong. She kept trying to give him chances. So look at him right there. So they're fighting. And then all of a sudden, Dooku slams the door on her. And I was like, oh my God. Dooku killed Yaddle. I was like, what? Like, slammed that door on her. And like you could see it's kind of phasing him. It's kind of bothering him. It's almost like he hasn't fully turned yet. But he's been doing dirt for so long that he's gone. But you could definitely tell things aren't going the way he expected. And then this happens where she actually lifts it. And I forgot to mention that the whole music during the fight sequence was amazing. That's another reason this episode hit so hard to me, is the music. The music was so Star Wars. It was very prequel inspired. Like this fight scene, the music, when you guys hear it and watch it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It just gives me prequels, lightsaber battle vibes so much, and I loved hearing it. And this one, they changed it to that other Star Wars theme that kind of like hit so hard when she was raising this. And at first, I was like, oh yes, let's go. Like she's channeling the Force. She's gonna get away from them, so she's opening it up. She's looking at him, but she's using all her strength to open that up. And then look, you see Palp's there, and she just faints. She just falls right in. Like, I wish she would have rolled out. Maybe she would have got away. But she fell in, and she's trying to reason with Dooku again. And, you know, he's saying all he wants is peace in the universe, doing it the way that Palpatine wants it. And then he was like that he was going to give her her final piece. He ignites the saber and strikes her down. So this was like, wow. Like, this hit hard. Like, wow. Which is crazy. And the Emperor, look how happy he is, that guy. Ah, oh, so evil. And that's how the episode ends. So it was just so crazy to see all of that, like the story of Dooku. This was the third episode of Dooku's arc. So episodes 2, 3, and 4 were pretty much Dooku's arc from like younger Dooku to older, and then episode 1 and then 5 and 6 is the Ahsoka arc. And I think the reason they split it up is to have it in order of like how it happened in the timeline. Since the Ahsoka one, she was a baby, and then you had like pre-Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and then you get into Clone Wars like season 7 / Revenge of the Sith with the Ahsoka stuff. So this episode to me was just, it was just beautiful. It was just so beautiful how it filled in a lot of little things behind the scenes in Phantom Menace that we kind of knew stuff happened, but now we knew who did it, how they did it, and like, and we finally see what happened with Yaddle. So I guess her death in the comics or in the books, whichever it was, is supposedly she was saving Anakin. That there was a bomb somewhere, supposedly, and she actually like took the bomb and kind of absorbed the explosion. That way, Anakin and the people, whoever there, would survive. So that's how I believe her death was kind of canon that way. But this kind of retconned it, which they've done it before. They've retconned stuff from comics and the books. So this is how it is on screen, and I'm fine with it. Like, it was just a beautiful episode, and just to see the pain in Dooku's eyes, especially that Qui-Gon had to go, and it was deep. You could tell he had a real strong connection with Qui-Gon. So this was just amazing, man. It says season 1 on there. I hope that means that season 1 of many, and that we get more of this. What would be a dream is if season 2 was Tales of the Sith, and we got to see like young Palpatine training with his master Darth Plagueis, or even if we got to see young Maul, like Palpatine recruiting Maul and training Maul. Oh, I would go nuts, because Maul is my favorite character in all of Star Wars. So like, if we were to get to see like the backstory of that, like how we saw kind of the backstory of Dooku, that would be so amazing. Or even if they just did another Tales of the Jedi, and they just had it be whoever, like 2 different people, and we get to see like their backstory. Even like Mace Windu, like seeing a young Mace Windu would be awesome. So hopefully they continue with this, because I'm sure they're gonna see the ratings and the views of this through the roof, because it's all 6 episodes were great. 4 was my favorite. 5 was dope. The ending of 5 was like, ooh. And then 6 was great too. Like, oh, so deep, so deep. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys watched it, which episode was your favorite? And let me know what you guys thought of this episode as well. So that's pretty much it for this breakdown, guys. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.